Ryan and David started at the same company on the same day. Same starting salary, $52,000 a year. Same cubicle row, same lunch breaks. 10 years later, one of them owns 2 rental properties, the other is still asking for a raise just to cover rent. And the wild part, for the first 5 years, you couldn't tell them apart. Let's rewind to day 1. Ryan gets his first paycheck, $1,733 after tax. He does what most people do. He upgrades his apartment. Nicer gym, closer to downtown, $1,400 a month. David gets the same paycheck, same $1,733. He stays in his $800 studio for 2 more years. On paper, Ryan looks like he's winning. Better apartment, better car, better weekends. David looks like he's falling behind. Same job, worse lifestyle. Everyone at the office thinks Ryan's just better with money. He isn't. He's just spending it faster. Here's where it actually starts to split. Ryan gets a credit card, uses it for everything, flights, dinners, a new laptop. He pays the minimum every month, $89 on a $4,200 balance. He tells himself he'll pay it off once he gets his bonus. David opens something boring instead. A retirement account. He puts in 8% of every paycheck automatically. He never sees that money. It just disappears before he can spend it. Ryan calls this excessive. He says David is too scared to enjoy his 20s. And for a while, Ryan seems right. He's having more fun, he's posting more photos, he's living the life David is supposedly missing out on. By year 3, the numbers start telling a different story. Ryan's credit card balance has grown to $9,800. He got a raise, but the raise went straight into a car lease, $410 a month for a car that's now worth $6,000 less than what he owes on it. David's retirement account sits at $14,000. Nobody sees it. Nobody's impressed by it. It doesn't get likes. It doesn't get compliments. But it's compounding quietly in the background every single month, whether David thinks about it or not. Here's the part nobody talks about. Ryan isn't reckless. He's not buying anything crazy. A slightly nicer apartment, a car payment, dinners out with friends. Each decision on its own looks completely reasonable. That's the trap. It's never one big mistake that breaks people financially. It's 100 small, reasonable-looking decisions stacked on top of each other with no system checking the total. By year 5, Ryan gets a promotion. His salary jumps to $71,000. This is the moment where most people assume the story flips, where Ryan finally gets ahead. Instead, his spending jumps with it. New apartment, $1,900 a month. Nicer car. A credit card balance that's crept up to $13,000 because emergencies kept happening. A vet bill. A flight home for a funeral. A broken laptop. Ryan calls this bad luck. It happens to David too, but David has something Ryan doesn't. 3 months of expenses sitting in a separate account, untouched, built specifically for these moments. When David's car needs a $900 repair, he pays cash and moves on. When Ryan's car needs the same repair, it goes on the credit card at 24% interest and becomes a $1,100 problem by the time it's paid off. This is where the real gap begins to open. Not in income, in what happens when life throws a surprise at you. Same surprise, completely different outcome, because one person built a buffer and the other didn't. By year 7, David gets the same promotion Ryan got 2 years earlier, same $71,000 salary. But David's version of the raise looks different. He increases his retirement contributions slightly. He allows himself one upgrade, a nicer apartment, $1,300 a month, still $600 less than Ryan's. The rest, he automates into an investment account he opened after reading one article about compound interest. He didn't become an expert overnight. He just started, and he never stopped. By year 8, David buys his first rental property. Small 2-bedroom, $180,000. Financed with a down payment he'd been building for 3 years without even realizing it, because the money left his account before he ever had a chance to spend it. The mortgage is $1,240 a month. The rent he collects is $1,650. That's $410 a month someone else is now paying toward David's asset. Ryan hears about this at a company happy hour and says something that tells you everything about where his head is at. He says, "Must be nice to have money like that." David doesn't correct him. He just says, "I don't have more money than you. I just decided years ago I wasn't going to see most of it." Let's check the scoreboard. At year 10, Ryan is earning $84,000 now. Solid salary, respectable title. His credit card balance sits at $11,000, roughly where it's hovered for years. Going up in bad months, down slightly in good ones, never disappearing. He has $6,000 in savings. He rents a nice apartment. He drives a leased SUV. He owns nothing that's actually his. David is earning $79,000, slightly less than Ryan. On paper, Ryan is still winning the salary conversation. But David owns 2 rental properties now worth a combined $410,000, with about $265,000 in mortgage debt remaining. That's $145,000 in equity. His retirement account has grown to $61,000. He has 0 credit card debt because he never let a balance carry longer than 1 billing cycle. His rental income alone covers more than half his own housing cost every month. Same starting salary, same company, same 10 years. One has a higher current income and almost nothing to show for a decade of work. The other has a slightly lower income and roughly $200,000 in net worth built quietly in the background. Here's the uncomfortable truth in this story. It was never about how much either of them earned. Ryan out-earned David for most of these 10 years. The gap wasn't income, it was what happened to each dollar the second it hit their bank account. Ryan's dollars went toward looking successful right now. David's dollars went toward being financially secure later, at the cost of looking slightly less impressive along the way. There's a psychological reason this trap is so easy to fall into. Spending is visible. Everyone sees the apartment, the car, the vacation photos. Saving is invisible. Nobody congratulates you for the retirement contribution you didn't spend. Nobody likes the post about your boring index fund. So the brain, wired for social approval, keeps pulling you toward the visible reward and away from the invisible one, even when the invisible one is the one that actually builds wealth. This doesn't mean Ryan is a bad person or that David is some financial genius. David got lucky in ways too. No major medical emergency, no layoff at the wrong moment. Life can still disrupt even the most disciplined plan. But discipline doesn't guarantee good luck. It just means you're in a stronger position to survive bad luck when it eventually shows up. If there's one lesson buried in Ryan and David's 10 years, it's this. The difference between staying broke and building wealth was never one big decision made at the start. It was 1,000 small ones made quietly, invisibly, month after month that nobody was watching and nobody was applauding. And by the time anyone notices the gap, it's already 10 years wide. So ask yourself honestly, if someone froze your bank account right now and checked what happened to every dollar for the last 12 months, would it look more like Ryan's story or more like David's?